Golf has always carried an image of honor, patience, and respect for the rules. Unlike many other sports, where referees constantly watch every movement, golf is built around the idea that players police themselves. The spirit of honesty is part of the very foundation. But every now and then, that foundation cracks. Sometimes it's an intentional shortcut, sometimes it's a reckless decision in the heat of competition, and sometimes it's a technicality so small that even television viewers at home needed slow-motion replays to spot it. There are moments that have stirred up heated debates, split opinions, and even stained reputations. These weren't just mistakes, they were controversies. And in some cases, they became unforgettable stories in golfing history. Today, let's dive into the 10 most shocking moments where golf players were caught cheating during the game. The sand sweep scandal, Patrick Reed's bunker penalty. At number 10 sits a controversy that earned its own nickname, Sandgate. Patrick Reed found himself in a waste area on the 11th hole. It should have been a normal recovery shot. But what happened next set the golf world on fire. Reed took 2 practice swings, and with each one, sand was visibly displaced from behind the ball. Cameras caught everything. To the casual eye, it may not have looked like much. But those tiny sweeps effectively improved the lie, creating a cleaner path for his next swing. Golf's rules are crystal clear about touching or altering the conditions in a hazard. Once the footage was broadcast, there was no room for debate. Reed received a 2-stroke penalty, but the judgment from fans and fellow pros was far harsher. The incident highlighted just how unforgiving golf can be when honesty is questioned. The ball-in-motion blunder, Phil Mickelson at Shinnecock Hills. Number 9 delivered one of the most jaw-dropping moments in major championship history. Phil Mickelson, known for brilliance and creativity, crossed a line no one expected. It happened on the brutal 13th green at Shinnecock Hills during the US Open. His bogey putt rolled far past the hole and was headed straight down a steep slope. Instead of watching the ball trickle away, Mickelson did something that stunned the gallery. He ran after it and swatted the ball while it was still in motion. Gasps echoed across the course. This wasn't frustration. It was a calculated move to stop the damage before it grew worse. Mickelson owned the moment afterward, admitting he knew the rule and accepted the penalty strokes. But critics called it unsportsmanlike, questioning whether a legend of the game had disrespected its integrity. Others defended him, saying it was simply gamesmanship under brutal conditions. To this day, that clip remains one of the most bizarre and unforgettable moments in US Open history. The drop zone controversy, Tiger Woods at the Masters. Number 8 takes us to Augusta National, home of the Masters, where Tiger Woods found himself at the center of one of golf's most unexpected rules disputes. On the 15th hole, Woods hit a beautiful approach that struck the flagstick, only to ricochet heartbreakingly into the water. Forced to take a drop, Woods chose his spot carefully. But here's the problem. He didn't drop it at the exact spot required. Instead, he placed it 2 yards farther back, giving him a better angle. At the time, it seemed routine, but a sharp-eyed television viewer watching from home noticed the drop wasn't right and phoned in the violation. Officials reviewed the footage, and Tiger was hit with a 2-stroke penalty. Under the older rulebook, this would have meant immediate disqualification because he had already signed his card. But a recent rule change allowed him to continue. Many said Tiger was lucky. Others insisted it was still unfair. What's undeniable is that the moment revealed just how closely the Masters is scrutinized. Not just by officials, but by millions of viewers around the globe. What made the incident unforgettable was that it involved Tiger at the height of his career. Every move he made was magnified, and every swing was analyzed from every possible angle. Fans debated endlessly whether he knowingly took advantage of the drop, or whether it was a simple lapse in judgment. The controversy spread far beyond Augusta, dominating headlines around the world. Some argued that golf's rules were too harsh and outdated, while others insisted they were the very fabric of the game. For Tiger, the penalty didn't just cost him strokes. It forced him into the center of a heated conversation about fairness, intent, and the responsibility of superstars in protecting the game's reputation. In the end, that Masters became remembered not only for brilliant shots, but also for one of the most debated rulings in tournament history. The marking mishap, Lexi Thompson's 4-stroke penalty. At number 7, heartbreak hit hard. Lexi Thompson was leading during the final round of a major when she was suddenly blindsided. The controversy began when she marked her ball on the green and, without realizing it, replaced it slightly off from the original spot. The difference? Barely an inch. That tiny move might have gone unnoticed forever if not for a television viewer at home who spotted the infraction and reported it. Officials reviewed the footage and issued a staggering 4-stroke penalty, 2 for the incorrect placement and 2 more for signing an incorrect scorecard. When officials informed Thompson mid-round, the look on her face told the entire story. Shock, disbelief, frustration. The crowd rallied behind her as she fought to the finish, eventually losing in a playoff. Fans questioned why outside viewers had such influence over the outcome. To this day, that debate continues. For Lexi, it turned what should have been a career highlight into one of the most controversial rulings in golf history, the withdrawal admission, Chella Choi's controversial exit. At number 6 is a moment that still stings for many fans. During the Canadian Pacific Women's Open, Chella Choi marked her ball on the green and replaced it. But when officials reviewed the footage, they noticed something wasn't right. The ball had been put back slightly to the side, again, only about an inch away from its original spot. A penalty was warranted, but instead of playing on, Choi stunned everyone by withdrawing from the tournament. That decision was seen by many as an implicit admission of guilt. Critics said it showed poor sportsmanship, while others believed she simply didn't want to continue under the weight of controversy. What might have been a small, forgettable infraction suddenly turned into a stain on her career. In golf, sometimes it's not just about the penalty strokes. It's about how players respond when they're caught in the spotlight. The withdrawal raised even bigger questions than the penalty itself. Fans wondered if she quit to avoid embarrassment, or if stepping away was her way of protesting the call. Commentators debated whether walking off showed weakness or honesty in accepting fault. Either way, the decision overshadowed the actual violation. Instead of focusing on her strong play earlier in the tournament, the story became about her exit. For weeks afterward, discussions circled around whether Choi had damaged her reputation more than the penalty ever could have. The moment stuck because it felt unfinished, leaving fans with more questions than answers. In a sport where character is often valued as much as performance, her choice to withdraw became the lasting headline, the buried bunker mistake. Dustin Johnson's PGA heartbreak. Number 5 takes us back to Whistling Straits and one of the cruelest rulings in recent memory. Dustin Johnson, on the brink of his first major championship, found his tee shot resting in a sandy, trampled area surrounded by fans. To him, it looked like a waste area, but in fact, it was technically a bunker. Johnson grounded his club behind the ball, unaware of the hazard designation. The violation was clear under the rules. 2 penalty strokes were added, and just like that, his place in the playoff was gone. The major title slipped through his hands. Fans were outraged. The course had nearly 1,000 bunkers, many of them indistinguishable from trampled paths where spectators stood. Yet the ruling stood, and Johnson learned the harsh lesson that in golf, ignorance is never an excuse. The heartbreak of that moment became one of the most painful near misses in modern major history. What made the moment even harder to swallow was how ordinary the lie looked. The area where Johnson's ball came to rest had footprints, soda cups, and fans standing only a few feet away. The honest read, Brian Davis calls penalty on himself. Number 4 is one of the rare times when honesty turned into heartbreak. During a playoff, Brian Davis's club brushed against a reed in a hazard during his backswing. Almost no one saw it. Not the officials, not his opponent, not the crowd, but Davis knew. Without hesitation, he called the penalty on himself. The delayed penalty dilemma. Anna Nordqvist's major loss. At number 3, the controversy wasn't just about the penalty, it was about the timing. Anna Nordqvist, in a major playoff, unknowingly grounded her club in a fairway bunker. Officials had the footage, they had the evidence, but they didn't inform her immediately. Instead, she played her next shot unaware that her fate was already sealed. Her opponent, Brittany Lang, knew of the ruling before the final putts were made. When the news was finally delivered, it was too late for Nordqvist to adjust her strategy. The delayed ruling left fans furious. Timing, after all, is everything in competition. If players don't know where they stand, how can they make fair decisions? Nordqvist lost her chance at a major, and the controversy became one of the most debated officiating moments in recent history. What made it sting even more was how powerless Nordqvist looked when she finally learned the truth. The club count crisis, Ian Woosnam's 15-club mistake. Number 2 is a lesson in simple details. At the Open Championship, Ian Woosnam was tied for the lead and playing with confidence when disaster struck before he even teed off. His caddy realized something was wrong. There were 15 clubs in the bag. The rules allow only 14. The penalty? 2 strokes. Just like that, Woosnam's lead was gone. The error wasn't a matter of interpretation or a judgment call. It was a straightforward oversight with devastating consequences. Fans and commentators were stunned. How could such an experienced team overlook something so basic? Woosnam didn't fire his caddy, but the mistake haunted him for years. That moment proved that in golf, even the smallest details can destroy the biggest opportunities. The embedded lie, Patrick Reed's Farmers Insurance controversy. Finally, at number 1, Patrick Reed once again found himself under fire. At the Farmers Insurance Open, his ball landed in the rough and clearly bounced. The television broadcast showed it. Fans saw it. But Reed insisted it had embedded without bouncing. Officials took him at his word. No penalty was given. But the footage told a different story, and the whispers of dishonesty grew louder. The incident sparked outrage across the golfing world, with many questioning how one player's word could outweigh what millions saw on live television. The controversy didn't just fade. It lingered, adding to Reed's reputation as one of the most polarizing figures in modern golf. Integrity, once again, became the talking point. When trust is broken in golf, it's not easily rebuilt. What made this situation even more explosive was the timing. Reed was already carrying baggage from earlier controversies, so this felt like confirmation to many critics. Fans on social media dissected the replay frame by frame, insisting the bounce was obvious. Fellow players were cautious with their words, but hinted at frustration, fueling the fire even more. Tournament officials defended the ruling, but the public response was unforgiving. Every highlight reel and every recap seemed to circle back to the same question. Was this bending the rules, or simply taking advantage of them? For many viewers, it didn't matter whether the intent was malicious or not. The trust was already eroded. In a game that prides itself on honor, this moment cemented Reed as one of the most scrutinized figures the sport has ever seen. From sand sweeps to moving putts, from misplaced drops to too many clubs, these moments remind everyone that golf, for all its tradition of honesty, is still vulnerable to controversy. Some mistakes were born out of pressure, some out of oversight. Others raised questions of intent. But all of them became unforgettable lessons in a sport that holds integrity above all else. If this deep dive into golf's most
It's a bit of a lag.
Well, what a nightmare start for Stephen Ames.
I'm a big believer in fate.
In Melbourne, which involves the PGA.
golf, the gentleman's game, turns ugly. We are talking about tantrums on the tee box and legends losing their cool in front of millions. Golf is supposed to be calm, polite, classy, but beneath the quiet whispers and slow walks, it can get too ugly. Number 1. Billy Horschel vs. Chambers Bay, 2015 US Open. Let's start with a big one, because this meltdown had everything: frustration, drama, and a national TV audience watching it all unfold in front of them. The 2015 US Open at Chambers Bay was already under fire, and the greens? It was a nightmare. It was bumpy, patchy, and unpredictable. Everyone was complaining behind closed doors except Billy Horschel. He made sure the world heard him like never. During the final round, Horschel's patience completely snapped. After every missed putt, he slammed his putter, threw up his arms, rolled his eyes, even mimed the ball bouncing off. Cameras caught every second, all those muttering and dramatic frustration. And just when people thought he was done, he dropped a bomb in interviews. He said he had lost respect for the USGA. Was it honest or out of line? Maybe both. But one thing is for sure, when your anger becomes the headline instead of your golf, that's not passion anymore. That's a meltdown in full swing. Number 2. Rory Sabatini, 2005 Booz Allen Classic. Have you ever played behind someone who takes forever to hit the ball? Imagine you lined up, ready to go, but they're still pacing, checking the wind, shaking the club again. Now imagine doing that for 17 straight holes, that too on live TV. That was Rory Sabatini's nightmare during the 2005 Booz Allen Classic. His playing partner was Ben Crane, who is a great golfer, but famously one of the slowest players on tour. Shot after shot, Crane's routine dragged on and on. You could see Sabatini's patience leaking away like air from a flat tire. Then came the 17th green. Sabatini finally holed his putt, and without saying a word at Crane, he grabbed his bag and walked straight off to the next tee. No handshake, no nod, no good luck, just gone. Crane stood there, confused, mid-hole, with cameras catching the whole awkward scene. Fans were stunned, and commentators called it disrespectful. And honestly, it was. Frustration is one thing, but walking out on your playing partner, that is not making a statement. That's burning the bridge and walking away before it even catches fire. Number 3. Bubba Watson and Steve Elkington in 2008 Zurich Classic. Ever seen two teammates who just don't click? You can feel it, that awkward silence, those eye rolls and those tensions so thick you could slice it into two. That was exactly what happened at the 2008 Zurich Classic between Bubba Watson and Steve Elkington. From the start, it was obvious that this pairing was not working. Shots were being missed, and the temper was rising too fast. The vibe was just too bad. Then things got even worse. Somewhere on the back nine, Bubba was caught on a hot mic saying something harsh about Elkington. No sugarcoating, no holding back, just raw frustration, broadcast for the world to hear. And then came the moment everyone remembers. The round ended and the players lined up to shake hands, but Bubba walked straight past Elkington. No handshake or glance, just a cold shoulder on live TV. Fans couldn't even believe it. Even Bubba later admitted his anger got the better of him. But by then, the damage was already done. And just like that, a simple handshake turned into one of golf's most awkward, unforgettable moments. Sometimes silence says more than any outburst ever could. Number 4, Stephen Ames versus Tiger Woods, 2006 WGC Match Play. Sometimes it's not what happens on the course, it's what is said before it. Those words can sometimes light the fire. Before the 2006 WGC Match Play even began, Stephen Ames was asked how he felt about facing Tiger Woods in round 1. Most players would have said something safe like, "It'll be a great challenge." But Ames is not just someone. He smirked and said, "Anything can happen, especially where he is hitting the ball." Which means Tiger is beatable. It was just a big mistake. Tiger didn't clap back in interviews. He waited until the first tee and then delivered one of the most brutal beatdowns in golf history. Hole after hole, Tiger destroyed Ames. Final score was 9-8. That means the match ended with 8 holes left to play. Domination at its peak. When it was over, Ames reached out for a handshake. Tiger gave him one, but wait. Number 5. John Daly's vanishing act in 2011 Australian Open. We have all had those days when nothing goes right, where every shot feels cursed, where even every bounce is unfair. But what if you just walked off? That's exactly what John Daly did at the 2011 Australian Open. It started like any other round, but by the time he reached the 11th hole, chaos had taken over. A 2-stroke penalty here, a ball in the water there, again and again. He hit 6, maybe 7 balls into the drink. Frustration boiled over too quickly, and then, without warning, Daly turned to his playing partners and said 2 simple words. "I'm off." No handshake or an official withdrawal. He just packed up and disappeared mid-round on live TV. The crowd stood there stunned, wondering if they would really just see a pro quit in real time. Later, Daly said his goodbyes and signed his scorecard, but the damage was already done. Fans called it shocking, the officials called it unprofessional, and golf history remembers it as the day John Daly didn't just lose his ball, he lost his patience and vanished into thin air. Number 6. Tom Kim's fiery celebrations at 2024 President's Cup. There's a fine line between confidence and cockiness, and at the 2024 President's Cup, Tom Kim danced right on it. It was the opening day with thick tension and cameras everywhere. He and his partner just turned and walked straight to the next tee. Scheffler was left standing mid-green, alone. The crowd went from cheering to silence. Was that passion or just plain rude? Commentators called it a little too much. Critics said it crossed the line. Kim later explained he was not trying to disrespect anyone, he was just locked in. But in golf, composure matters as much as skill. Number 7. The Battle of Brookline, 1999 Ryder Cup. Some moments in sports are unforgettable, not because of victory, but because of how it happened. The 1999 Ryder Cup at Brookline was one of those moments. The US was mounting a stunning comeback, and then came Justin Leonard standing over a 45-foot putt on the 17th hole. He struck it, and boom, it dropped, and the crowd erupted. The US bench sprinted onto the Number 8. Phil Mickelson's moving ball strike in US Open 2018. All right, let's talk about one of the wildest, did that really just happen? Moments in modern golf history. It was when Phil Mickelson's moving ball smack at the 2018 US Open. You've probably seen golfers lose their cool before a tossed club, a frustrated glare, maybe a quiet curse under the breath. But what did Phil do that day? That was something else. Picture this. It's Shinnecock Hills with brutal greens, impossible pin placements. The ball is rolling faster than anything else on a downhill slope. Phil lines up a putt, gives it a solid tap, and then watches what happened next. But the next moment was so unbelievable for him as he missed it, and the ball started moving further away from the hole. Most players would just groan, take the hit, and move on. But not Phil. He suddenly takes off after the ball, literally jogging across the green, and hits it again while it's still moving. Just boom. That moment went live on TV. US Open, and everyone's jaws dropped. Was it frustration, strategy, or comedy? Maybe a little of all three. Phil later admitted he did it on purpose to stop the ball from rolling off the green completely. The rules handed him a 2-stroke penalty, but fans were not talking about the score. They were talking about the message. Because in golf, you just don't do that. You let the ball finish, even if it rolls into next week. Phil's move felt less like a mistake and more like a middle finger to the golf gods and a pure defiance from one of the game's biggest names. Love him or not, but that moment was unforgettable. Number 9. Sergio Garcia spitting into the cup in the WTC Championship game. Let's rewind to 2007, the moment Sergio Garcia turned frustration into one of the most jaw-dropping acts ever caught on a golf broadcast. He lines up a short putt and misses it. Most pros would mumble under their breath and move on. But Sergio was different as always. He took it somewhere no one expected. He walked over to the hole and leaned down and spit directly into the cup. Yeah! The same cup other players still had to put into. That too on live television. You could almost hear the gasp from the gallery and from living rooms everywhere around the world. Commentators went silent for a split second, unsure if they actually saw what they thought they saw. It was not just unethical, it was unthinkable in a sport that prides itself on respect and composure. Sergio later apologized, saying it was a moment of frustration. But for many fans, that clip became the defining image of a player who, at times, let his temper rule his talent. Because in golf, emotion is fine, but spitting in the cup is a whole different game. And as if that were not enough, in 2019 at the Saudi International, he went on another rampage, leaving patch marks and greens with his shoes in anger. The European Tour disqualified him, which was something that almost never happens. 2 incidents, years apart, but the same theme. Raw emotion boiling over into total disrespect. And for Sergio, the stain of that 2007 moment never quite washed off. Number 10. Allison Lee's controversy at the Solheim Cup, 2015. This is something far colder than some fights. A rules call that broke hearts instead of scorecards. It's the 2015 Solheim Cup in Germany, the women's version of the Ryder Cup, Team USA versus Team Europe. High stakes, high tension, and emotions running so hot. On the 17th hole of a crucial match, Allison Lee faced a short putt to have the hole. She thought her Europe. Suzanne Pettersson stepped in and said, "Wait, we didn't concede that." Suddenly, by the letter of the rule book, Lee had just lost the hole. Just like that, the chaos started. The Americans were furious, and Lee broke down in tears. Captain Julie Inkster looked ready to explode. Even a few European players seemed uncomfortable with how it went down. Pedersen held her ground, saying she was simply following the rules. And, technically, she was right. But morally, that is where things got messy. Because golf is not just about rules, it's about respect and sportsmanship. And while Pedersen's decision was legal, it felt heartless, and the backlash was brutal. Days later, she apologized. But by then, the damage was done. Sometimes in golf, the cruelest cuts come not from cheating, but from being too right. Golf, it is supposed to be calm, composed, a game of patience and precision. But as we've just seen, even in the quietest game, egos clash and emotions explode. Because in this sport, 1 second of frustration can echo louder than a lifetime of perfection. And if you enjoyed golf's most shocking meltdowns,
Golf is supposed to be the last sport where dignity survives, where players call penalties on themselves, fans whisper during backswings, and victory is handled with grace. But the Ryder Cup isn't golf's usual arena. Every 2 years, civility takes a back seat and golf becomes tribal. It's the United States versus Europe, flag against flag. Every shot feels like a punch, every celebration a provocation. And sometimes the line between passion and poor sportsmanship is obliterated. Few moments in Ryder Cup history capture that explosion of emotion more vividly than Rory McIlroy's eruption at Hazeltine in 2016. Europe had just gone down 4-0, and Rory, already a 4-time major winner, was feeling the weight of it all. The American crowd wasn't just loud, they were venomous. They mocked his every step, threw insults across fairways, and tried to rattle him. So when Rory drained a clutch 20-foot eagle putt on the 16th green, he didn't hold back. He let out a guttural scream, turned to the crowd, and bowed. Twice. It wasn't just triumph, it was defiance. Later, Rory admitted the bow was premeditated. He wanted the moment. He needed to take control, not just of the hole, but of the energy in the stadium. Sportsmanship? Maybe not, but it was unforgettable. Just 2 years earlier, the same course had witnessed another firestarter, Patrick Reed. Then a 24-year-old brimming with bravado, Reed became a one-man villain factory. During his singles match against Henrik Stenson, Reed sunk a birdie and immediately shushed the Scottish crowd. Finger to lips like a man silencing a symphony, the crowd erupted. Reed just stared them down. It was brash, bold, and exactly the kind of moment that made him a Ryder Cup cult figure in America and public enemy number 1 in Europe. But sometimes the worst moments come not from celebration but betrayal. At the 2014 Ryder Cup in Gleneagles, Scotland, legendary commentator and former European captain Nick Faldo did something few could believe. During a live broadcast, he casually called Sergio Garcia useless in a past Ryder Cup. The jab wasn't just cold, it was personal. Garcia had matured into a reliable team player, but Faldo's words cut deep. In the middle of the tournament, with Garcia representing Europe, the comment didn't just spark outrage, it fractured the sense of unity the Ryder Cup tries to build. On the surface, it was just analysis, but for players, it was a dagger. Sometimes the tension between fans and players creates the most surreal moments. During the 2016 Ryder Cup, European player Andy Sullivan missed a putt, prompting a heckler from the crowd to shout that he could have made it. Henrik Stenson, cool as ever, called his bluff. He invited the fan onto the green. Justin Rose even sweetened the deal by placing $100 next to the ball. The fan stepped up and made the putt. The crowd lost it. It was hilarious. But beneath the laughter was a sense that even the players were tired. Tired of being ridiculed. Tired of the jeers. Tired of the line between fan and foe disappearing. Yet long before modern antics, gamesmanship had deep roots. In 1957, Tommy Thunderbolt Bolt earned infamy not for his swing, but for his slow play. During his match against Eric Brown, Bolt dragged out every shot, every walk, every decision. It wasn't strategy, it was sabotage. Brown, unimpressed, responded by pulling out a chair and sitting down mid-match. The standoff was bizarre, tense, and silent. Bolt lost the match 4-3. There was no handshake at the end. The crowd barely clapped. No one remembers the score, everyone remembers the standoff. The Ryder Cup is often teetered on the edge of chaos, but nowhere did it tumble off the cliff more dramatically than in 1999 at Brookline. Team USA was staging a massive comeback on Sunday. The crowd, sensing blood, turned protest. Amid the ugliness, American icon Payne Stewart offered a rare act of grace, conceding Monty's final hole. But the damage was done. That day, the crowd didn't just cross the line, they stomped on it. Gamesmanship wasn't just a fan problem. Seve Ballesteros, the heart and soul of European Ryder Cup success, was a master of psychological warfare. In 1987, he and Jose Maria Olazabal were paired against Curtis Strange and Ken Green. After a missed putt, Seve subtly walked through Strange's through line, the path his ball might take if it rolled past the hole. It was a quiet mind game. Strange bristled. Seve just smiled. Moments later, Seve chipped in from off the green. It wasn't just a great shot, it was a mental uppercut. Fast forward to 2018, and tensions erupted again, this time between Anthony Kim and Sergio Garcia. During their match, Garcia asked for relief from a set of steps near the green. Kim jumped in, questioning whether it was really affecting the shot or just gamesmanship. Garcia was furious. The moment lingered long after the ruling was made. It wasn't just a dispute over steps, it was a clash of egos. And then came one of the biggest post-tournament bombshells in Ryder Cup history, the 2018 fallout between Patrick Reed and Team USA. After Europe's dominant win in Paris, Reed went public with his anger. He called out captain Jim Furyk, accused the team of poor pairings, and made it clear he felt disrespected. But it didn't stop there. Reed aired everything: the locker room decisions, his personal disappointments, and his frustrations with Jordan Spieth. The unspoken Ryder Cup code that team matters more than ego was shattered. 4 years earlier, in 2014, something similar had happened, but this time the explosion came from a legend. After Team USA lost at Glen Eagles, Phil Mickelson sat down at the post-match press conference and torched Tom Watson, the team's captain. With Watson sitting just feet away, Phil detailed how the team had no input, no strategy, no connection. It wasn't subtle, it was a demolition, and it changed Ryder Cup policy forever. The fallout led to the creation of a new task force to reshape American Ryder Cup structure and prove that even legends can burn bridges when pride and patriotism collide. By 2025, Ryder Cup madness had reached its boiling point. At Bethpage Black, one of the most unforgiving courses in America, the crowd wasn't just loud, they were brutal. The European team, especially Rory McIlroy, was targeted with relentless abuse. But this time, it escalated to something shocking. Rory's wife was allegedly hit with a beer. The chants weren't just rude, they were obscene, vulgar, and repeated by thousands. The tipping point came when event MC Heather McMahon was caught on video encouraging the mob-like chants. She resigned. The PGA of America apologized, but the damage to the Cup's image was undeniable. It was no longer just passion, it was chaos. The Ryder Cup had evolved from a gentleman's duel to a tribal war. And while emotion is part of what makes the event so compelling, the line between competitive spirit and raw disrespect has never been thinner. From shushing crowds to public takedowns, from fan violence to locker room betrayals, these moments serve as reminders golf's classiest tournament is also its most volatile. And maybe that's the paradox that keeps fans watching. Because when golf forgets to be polite, it becomes unforgettable.
Out of the first cut.
Damn it. Tiger, come on.
The Ryder Cup has always been more than just a golf tournament. It's a stage where pressure, pride, and national rivalry collide in a way that magnifies every swing, every putt, and every decision. While sportsmanship is celebrated in golf, the intensity of the Ryder Cup sometimes brings out the rawest emotions in players. From verbal exchanges on the green to subtle gamesmanship that skirts the line of rules, there have been countless instances where tension boiled over, leaving fans shocked and players questioned. These are the moments that remind us that even the most disciplined athletes are human, and that passion can sometimes override protocol. One unforgettable incident occurred during a singles match, where a player visibly expressed frustration after a missed putt, slamming his club to the ground and earning a stern warning from officials. The crowd's reaction was mixed, with some applauding the intensity and others shaking their heads at the breach of decorum. While golf is known for its quiet dignity, the Ryder Cup has a history of explosive emotion, demonstrating that the pressure of representing an entire nation can push players beyond their usual restraint. It's in these moments that the thin line between competitiveness and poor sportsmanship becomes glaringly evident. Then there are examples of questionable gamesmanship, like subtle positioning that influences opponents' line of sight, or intentionally slow play designed to unsettle a rival. These tactics don't violate the rules per se, but they challenge the spirit of fair play. Fans watching live broadcasts often notice these subtleties and immediately react on social media, creating a storm of debate about whether the intensity of the Ryder Cup excuses such behavior or whether it should be condemned. Over the years, these small yet significant moments have added a layer of drama to the matches that no highlight reel can fully capture. Arguably, some of the most controversial episodes arise from emotional confrontations between teammates or between captains and players. During team sessions, heated words can be exchanged in private, but occasionally they spill into public view. A famous example from a past tournament involved a player openly criticizing a teammate's shot choice, sparking a debate over loyalty versus accountability. While some argue this is part of the competitive spirit, others insist it crosses the line, illustrating how intense national pride can sometimes clash with camaraderie. Beyond the players themselves, the crowd plays a role in sportsmanship, or the lack thereof. Rowdy, partisan spectators have been known to distract players with shouts or applause at critical moments. Unlike regular PGA events where decorum is tightly maintained, the Ryder Cup crowd embraces energy and emotion, sometimes to the detriment of fair competition. This unique atmosphere can amplify minor lapses in behavior into widely discussed controversies, making every gesture or remark subject to scrutiny. Even referees and officials have had to navigate tricky situations where the rules didn't clearly dictate the right course of action. Decisions about penalties, timing, or line-of-sight interference have, at times, led to tense confrontations between players and officials. These moments highlight the fine balance the Ryder Cup demands, enforcing the rules while respecting the emotional intensity and historical weight of the event. Mistakes, or perceived mistakes, often become talking points that linger long after the final putt has dropped. And while negative moments often make headlines, it's worth noting that the Ryder Cup's emotional intensity also produces unforgettable demonstrations of camaraderie and respect. Shaking hands after a tense match, congratulating opponents on clutch shots, and rallying teammates after a setback all underscore the dual nature of the tournament. Fierce competition intertwined with genuine respect. It's in the contrast between zero sportsmanship flashes and these acts of honor that the Ryder Cup truly captivates fans. Whether it's dramatic outbursts, controversial tactics, or crowd-induced tension, the Ryder Cup continually reminds us that sportsmanship is both celebrated and tested on one of golf's grandest stages. These moments, as shocking as they are, become part of the lore of the competition, giving fans stories to recount for generations. They challenge players to balance ambition with integrity and remind viewers that even in a game known for its calm precision, human emotion remains a powerful force. The Ryder Cup, more than any other golf event, is a tournament where individual skill intersects with national pride. Every putt and drive carries not just the weight of personal achievement, but the expectation of representing an entire country. This pressure cooker environment has, over the decades, produced moments of brilliance and flashes of poor sportsmanship alike. It's this delicate tension between composure and emotion that makes the Ryder Cup so compelling. Fans around the world tune in not just for the competition, but for the human drama that inevitably unfolds on the green. One of the recurring themes in Ryder Cup history is the clash of personalities. Golf is often seen as a game of quiet focus and self-discipline, but when the best players from two continents meet in a high-stakes, no-margin-for-error environment, tempers flare. There have been countless examples where players have shouted at their caddies in frustration, thrown clubs, or spoken sharply to opponents after a critical error. These moments, while frowned upon in regular tournaments, are amplified in the Ryder Cup because of the audience size, the live broadcasts, and the immediacy of social media reactions. Every action is scrutinized, every emotional outburst documented, and in some cases, immortalized in highlight reels that are replayed for years. Fans remember moments like the notorious 1991 Ryder Cup, when a player angrily gestured after a missed birdie putt, creating a heated exchange with his opponent. While the act itself was minor, the context, a deciding match with Europe and the United States neck and neck, magnified its impact. Analysts debated endlessly whether the gesture was unsportsmanlike or simply a display of competitive intensity. This duality is at the heart of the Ryder Cup experience. The fine line between passion and disrespect is constantly tested. Gamesmanship also plays a subtle yet critical role. Unlike clear rule violations, certain behaviors exist in a gray area where legality meets ethical judgment. A player might intentionally step in a line of sight to distract an opponent, talk strategically to disrupt concentration, or take extra time to read greens in a way that pressures the rival. These moves, while technically allowed under the rules, raise questions about the spirit of fair competition. They create tension not just on the course but in the audience, who are torn between appreciating tactical acumen and condemning perceived unfairness. Captains and team dynamics further complicate sportsmanship. Unlike individual tournaments, the Ryder Cup is about teamwork, pairing, and mutual reliance. When disagreements arise over strategy or shot selection, conflicts can escalate. There have been instances where teammates openly disagreed on pairing decisions or criticized each other's play, with these exchanges occasionally spilling into the media. While internal debate can be healthy for decision-making, publicized disputes can give an impression of discord, leading to fan backlash and even psychological pressure on players. The Ryder Cup tests not just skill, but character under stress. The crowd is another influential factor. Unlike standard PGA events, where silence is golden and etiquette is enforced, Ryder Cup crowds embrace energy and fervor. Cheering, chanting, and even disruptive behavior are commonplace, especially when a player faces a critical putt. While the audience's enthusiasm adds excitement, it also increases the likelihood of mistakes and misbehavior. Players accustomed to quiet greens must adapt to boisterous environments, which can trigger reactions that verge on unsportsmanlike conduct. Some players thrive under pressure, others crack, illustrating how environment directly affects behavior. Historical context adds weight to these moments. The Ryder Cup has been played since 1927, and over nearly a century, national rivalries have intensified. Incidents of poor sportsmanship are often remembered as much as brilliant shots, contributing to the mythology of the tournament. Fans recount stories of fiery exchanges, intense glares, or subtle taunts for decades, embedding them in the cultural narrative of the event. These stories are cautionary tales for current players, emphasizing the importance of composure under extreme pressure. Media coverage has magnified the impact of zero sportsmanship moments. In past decades, only a few thousand fans witnessed on-course outbursts, but today, millions watch live broadcasts with instant replay, multiple camera angles, and social media commentary. A single gesture, be it a club thrown in frustration or a pointed comment, can become viral, attracting both criticism and fascination. This scrutiny adds another layer of pressure, as players know their reactions are not private, but part of a global audience's judgment. The intensity of competition also breeds psychological games. Players often use eye contact, timing, and strategic pauses to unsettle opponents. While these tactics fall within the rules, they highlight the blurred line between competitiveness and disrespect. Some argue that such behavior is part of high-level sport. Others see it as undermining golf's traditional values of respect and decorum. The Ryder Cup, by its nature, is designed to push these boundaries. Even so, moments of poor sportsmanship are often juxtaposed with extraordinary acts of respect. Shaking hands after a heated match, acknowledging an opponent's remarkable shot, or rallying teammates after a setback are equally celebrated. These instances demonstrate that the Ryder Cup is not defined solely by negative behavior, but by the spectrum of human emotion under intense competition. Fans are drawn to the drama, but they also honor displays of integrity, creating a rich narrative that combines tension, skill, and moral lessons. The lessons from zero sportsmanship moments extend beyond golf. They remind athletes of the importance of mental resilience, emotional control, and respect for both opponents and the game itself. Young fans watching these tournaments learn about consequences, accountability, and the thin line between competitive fire and disrespect. For professionals, these incidents become opportunities for growth, shaping the way future generations approach high-stakes competition. In conclusion, the Ryder Cup is a showcase of skill, strategy, and national pride, but it is also a vivid stage for human emotion in its rawest form. While zero sportsmanship moments make headlines and spark debate, they also illustrate the pressure, intensity, and passion inherent in the event. From controversial gestures to subtle gamesmanship and crowd influence, these incidents remind us that even the most disciplined athletes are human. Yet, alongside the mistakes, acts of respect, camaraderie, and honor persist, reinforcing that the spirit of the game can coexist with fierce competition. The Ryder Cup remains an unforgettable display of both the best and the most challenging aspects of sportsmanship. The Ryder Cup remains a living testament to the intensity of competition, the complexity of human behavior, and the enduring power of sport to inspire, teach, and entertain.